Hey everybody, Charlie Stevens here. Thanks again for joining me for another guitar lesson. Alright, so today I'd like to teach you a great campfire jam tune. This is one of the first songs I ever learned, called Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. So yeah, it's a nice, easy song, and a good one you can jam around the campfires with other people. And I wanted to teach you a song that was conducive for this, because I do feel like that's a great thing to do. So if you've been following along this course and you've been playing a lot of guitar, that's great. And the earlier you can meet other people to play with and share your music with, the more you're going to be inspired to keep learning more and more. So I do encourage you to do that. So this song really only uses a few different chords, and we're going to start with a G chord, okay, and then it goes to D, and then A minor, and then another measure of A minor. That one's twice as long as the other chords. Okay, then we go to G, D, and C. Alternates like that in the original version. So when I was a kid and I was learning this song, I noticed that nobody played it like that. At least the people that I happened to meet around, campfire jams when I was a kid. It seemed like people either thought that it was an A minor every time, or they thought that it was a C every time. And I remember I would have to kind of read the room when I would play this song with somebody else, and I would have to kind of watch their hands and kind of see what they thought the chords were. Okay? And then I realized that I could play this other chord, which we learned in our last video here. It's called A minor 7. So if you haven't seen that video, please go back and check that out, where I teach you how to play this one. But it's really halfway in between a C and an A minor chord. Here's C, here's A minor. It's just A minor, or it's just C without this finger on. Or it's A minor without the same finger on, which would be on a different spot. But either way, you're not using the third finger now. The other two fingers stay the same for either chord. So I realized if I did that, it didn't really matter what everybody else around the campfire was doing. This chord would sort of fit. Okay? So, I was listening to it earlier, and I do hear that alternation in the bass, where one time around it'll go to A minor, the next time around it'll go to C. So I do believe that's the correct way to play this. But maybe you get confused and you're not sure which one is which and where that goes. This chord is a pretty safe bet. You can actually play this over and over for the whole song, and it sounds fine. Might not be exactly the correct way. But if you're following these series, I'm kind of assuming that you're fairly new to the guitar, and I want you to get playing to have fun and not be concerned about exact notes just yet. But that is an important part about playing the guitar as well. So that's an A minor 7 we can use. Might have noticed in that second bar of A minor, I can put down my pinky. So again, we talked about how to add that to an A minor, which makes it an A minor 7. If you haven't checked out that video, please go watch that on the channel. But it's just as easy as that. You take an A minor and you add your pinky to the G note right here, 3rd fret of high E. Okay, and then the same thing with C, that same note with the pinky. Since they're almost the same chord, right? That note is actually in both chords, so it's okay to add that one in either one. Okay, so in the original recording, I hear a lot of syncopation at that part. I'm hearing. Da, 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 da. Okay, so we haven't really talked about syncopation yet, and I'm going to express how this strumming pattern is going to look written down in a moment, and we're going to do it with just the same symbols we've been using on the channel. So we haven't learned how to make these syncopated rhythms. That would require us only having things on off beats. We haven't even really done a lesson explaining what that means, so we won't really worry about that term right now, but basically we're not going to worry about that. And you can come back to it. So this could be something you can come back to and revisit when you're more experienced with syncopation if you'd like. But I'm going to show it to you in a very basic way using just the symbols we've done before. However, before I understood how to read symbols that would give me syncopation or knew what the term meant, I understood how to play it. Monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. I would hear somebody play it, I would copy it. I don't really think it's that complicated. Once I start explaining how it's done and we start writing it down in music, it's going to seem a little complicated, okay, which is why we're going to wait on that. However, I will play it again. So those of you with a keen ear that just want to listen and try to match my rhythm, please do, okay? And those that this is a little bit advanced for, don't worry, we're going to have a little bit of a simplified way to do this on paper, which we'll learn next, okay? But here it is again with the sort of syncopated hits that I hear. Okay, it's really not that hard. I'm just using upstrokes, but again, I'm trying to give you something to practice using what we've recently learned, okay? So if you're really having trouble with that and you want me to make a different lesson about how to do the syncopated hits once we've explained syncopation later on, please leave me a comment and I'll do that. Or you can just kind of come back to this and add it in when you get the concept. But like I said, for now we're going to keep it nice and simple, and we're going to do a strumming pattern that fits in with what we've been learning so far. And that means we're not going to use syncopation, and we're only going to use up to eighth notes, as fast as eighth notes, right? So please check out my previous lessons about strumming eighth notes and how to count eighth notes to understand how that works. But basically, we have 4 beats in each measure. And so in this song, 1 and 3 are the most important ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So if you're really new to this and you're struggling with getting any strumming pattern for this, that's a good one to try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It just really kind of takes out the BS and gives you all the important stuff in the rhythm, in my opinion, okay? In the original recording, I hear this kind of gallopy thing like that. And then they throw that in at some point. But the gallopy thing is actually super simple and fits in with what we've been doing. So that would be still making 1 and 3 sound important by making those the long notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So where 2 and 4 go, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I made them all equal, then 1 and 3 wouldn't have that important feeling that we want, right? So if I make 2 and 4 shorter, down, up, 2 and 3, 4 and. So 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay, kind of getting that? Let's try that one together. So this is what that would look written in tab, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool, right? So that has a really nice little rhythm to it. I do kind of hear that feeling in the original recording. There's lots of different instruments. There's kind of a finger picking kind of pattern happening. There's different stuff happening, right? So we're not trying to recreate everything on the album. We're trying to take the essence of the important stuff and put it in a way that feels good, feels consistent, make sure that we or whoever else is going to be singing the song has a nice constant rhythm, okay? So this continues for the entire song. That's it. We're just going to play that ad infinitum, I don't know how you say that. Leave a comment if you know. So yeah, we're just going to play that over and over and over and over again, okay? So we can get in a kind of a trance and kind of do our own rhythms here. We don't have to do this exact one I'm showing you, but this one is nice and easy, it makes sense. It also gives us an opportunity to use the strum for nothing, which we learned about in a recent video. So please watch that if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically you let go of the chord as you change chords, and you give yourself plenty of time to do it. You even still strum for nothing, right? So 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. See how I let go? 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Okay? Sounds weird if I stop there, right? But if I keep going and I hit 1 on the D chord now, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Sounds like an arrival. It sounds cool. Alright? You can use it there too. 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and okay, so I don't want to be locked into any rhythm. I want to be freely kind of strumming however I feel, but having some important stuff, knowing where the important beats are, helps me get the groove right, okay? And I'd really encourage you to do that, even if you have to do silly faces and stuff like me to kind of get that in your blood, really hold that groove down. Alright, yeah, pretty cool tune. We could also do it a little bit more reduced too. Let's try a slightly different reduced strum in case that's a little too busy. However, the one we just did is very consistent rhythmically, so hopefully once you get the hang of that, you'll be able to sing over this, and that will feel good. But let's try one that's a little different and just a little less busy. Okay, so see what I'm doing there? I eliminated the eighth notes we were doing on beat 2, and I made beat 1 extra important by making it even bigger. Remember how earlier we had 1 and 3 were bigger than 2 and 4, and that made them sound important, right? Well, now I made 1 sound even more important than 3 by making that one like huge. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I still do a 4 and 4 and I still do the strum for nothing on the and. Nice and easy. I like that one, okay? So it's a little more counting because you have to feel where beat 2 is now, right? Earlier we had 1, 2, and 3, 4, and da, 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 da. Every beat is accounted for. You're doing something, you're strumming. So in some ways that's easier. In other ways this is easier because you're strumming fewer times. So I'll let you be the judge of that. I just wanted to give you 2 options. But also I don't want you to feel locked into these. Feel free to strum them however you want. Okay, and then you can take solos. We learned the G major scale. That mostly works for all of the chords in this song, actually. You can kind of just play that G major scale. Some of them won't sound great over certain chords at whatever chord is happening at the moment. One of the notes in the scale might not sound the best over it, perhaps. But if you do the G major pentatonic, Okay, you can do some cool stuff here. In my intro video, I actually just took the solo that Slash does on an electric, and I kind of tried to put it onto acoustic, so it was a little bit rough, but kind of still pretty fun. Okay, so that's a really fun solo we can learn on electric guitar. Actually, he does it way up the neck. So a little bit different. But still, most of what I was just doing there in that solo, those are notes from the G major scale. Some of them are notes from the G pentatonic scale, right? So that's why we're learning all this stuff. It ties together to be able to play sweet solos too. Okay, so we'll touch base on that. Leave me a comment if you do want to learn that solo, and we can get our electric guitars out and rip that one in the future. Okay, well, I think that about covers it. So as I said, this chord progression just repeats over and over and over and over again. So I'm going to give you the measures here in the written forms we've been using for this lesson. You can download those at my website and check those out. But also, I'll leave the lyrics and the chords over them in the comments, right? Because then you can sing through it and you can see where the words line up with the chords, and that can be a really helpful way to do it too, okay? You want to be able to count it and make sure that that really doesn't get displaced. You're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, so don't let anything weird happen with that. If one of the words, seems like it wants to make one of the chords move, don't let that happen. Keep the chords where they're supposed to go and adjust your timing with your phrases so the words can match up, and you can do it that way if you're trying to sing this song, okay? Or you can get somebody else to try to sing along, but again, timing is going to be crucial. If you have somebody who's singing with you, you have to be really on point with your rhythm, or they're not going to know what to do. You guys are going to be off on two different tempos and in two different places of the song perhaps, and it can get messy unless we really are careful to hold it down consistently. Okay, so sort of a lot of work involved with this, but hopefully it's really fun. These chords are really fun to just kind of strum and play, so feel free to match the way I'm doing it. Feel free to listen to Bob Dylan's version and try to, see if you can hear some things that we didn't talk about you can add into it, or feel free to just not worry about any of that and just make up your own interpretation and strum it however you want, however you can sing it and feel supported and have that rhythm feel like it's supporting your singing and you feel good about. That's going to be great, okay? But yeah, hopefully some of these suggestions I've given you help you get you in the ballpark, okay? All right, well, thank you so much for joining me for this guitar lesson. If you're liking this series, please subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in another lesson really soon. Thanks again. Bye.